Hello and welcome back to the channel, How We Move the Decimal. And I don't know what parents need to hear this, but empty the backpacks and lunch boxes. As you are watching this, it's probably the second week of June. As I'm making this, it is the 1st. These books came from an estate sale. We bought up the entire estate sale. I've talked about it before. We bought out the entire estate sale for $80 for books. I don't know who got a better deal. I don't know who got hoodwinked on who got the shorter end of the stick. I thought I was buying 2 bookshelves worth of books. And the person running the estate sale thought I was buying every book in the entire house and made me go through every room to get every book in the entire house. And there were books in every single room of the house. This wasn't a huge house. It was a ranch with a basement. Thankfully, I guess I should be happy that she did not make me go into the attic and look for books up there. I don't know if there was books in the attic or not, but there were books in the basement, books in the garage, well, thankfully there were no books in the bathroom. But there were books in all the bedrooms, books in the living room, books in the closets, books, lots and lots of books. I went through the books this weekend. I'm almost done. I have half of a bookshelf left, but it's 3 rows deep into there. So far there's been 921 books. I'm hoping for over 1,000 because my completest part of my brain just wants there to be over 1,000 books. If it's like 995, I'm just going to lie to myself and say it's over 1,000. But they were all different types of books. Cookbooks, romance novels, historical books, lots of children's books, coloring books. Mainly cookbooks. Mainly very individualized to an organization cookbooks like the United Methodist Women's of Florida. And it's not even localized to where we're from, which is Illinois. It is all over. And I'm fairly certain this lady was in some weird like cookbook exchange because she was getting books sent to her from all over, and they're like, her name was Loretta. And they're like, to Loretta from the women of blah, blah, blah. And so I think she had friends all over the place, or at least churches. It seems like a lot of these were church related, and all of these, I'm going to be very sexist here and say all of these church ladies were sending their church specific cookbooks to each other and other states. It was quite interesting. I will say most of the cookbooks, ironically, the individualized cookbooks are very used. They have, oil stains on them, yellowing of pages, they have bookmarks in them. I found so much stuff in these cookbooks, and there are several that are just book bindings in which she had made her own cookbooks out of like recipes she's got out of newspapers and like the packages of things. So if the boxes had a specific recipe on it and stuff like that, the marshmallow bags, stuff, she did use these. Ironically, the books she did not use were the mass market paperbacks or mass market hardbacks. So she had like Paula Deen and Sandra Lee and a whole bunch of Rachel Ray, and those weren't used. They were crisp. Those, even the Martha Stewart books, all of the mass-produced hardbacks and paperbacks looked like they were never touched. However, all of the local, very specific ones were used. The mass-produced ones didn't even have bookmarks in them. And the local ones had bookmarks. She had her own notes next to recipes. Use this instead of this. My family prefers this to this, which I just find absolutely charming. I try to put those as much as possible. Do I go through every single page of a cookbook? No. Do I flip through it very quickly? Yes. And when I do flip through it quickly, if I do see where there have been notes or modifications, I try to photograph that so the person buying the book does know that. I will put, like, if it is stained and stuff, well loved, frequently used. That hasn't really hindered people buying them yet because they are so specific. And I don't know if people are like just really into like these very oddly specific cookbooks. I know the only cookbook I really use in our house is an Illinois Department of Revenue cookbook from the early 90s. And the reason I use that is because my grandmother is in it. And she's no longer with us, so I feel kind of like an attachment there. And the recipes she would use, even if they weren't her recipes, were out of that book. So like her sugar cookie recipe isn't her sugar cookie recipe, but it is the recipe she used from that book. So when I moved out and got my own house, I asked my mom if I could take that cookbook with us. And that's the only one I use. I have the classic Better Homes and Gardens, the red and white checkered plaid one. We have that. I don't think I've used it that often, maybe like 2 or 3 times. But the Illinois Department of Revenue, it has stains on it from me. It has bookmarks in it. It has notes where I've made edible cookie dough out of it when I've substituted things, trial and error, stuff like that. All of that has been there, and that's a very well-loved cookbook. Do I know, do I think any one of my children will want it? Maybe. Have I thought about digitizing some of it? Yeah, but it's just not the same as pulling that book out because it's memories. And I'm like, these are the sugar cookies I ate. These are the Christmas cookies I ate growing up. And then these are also the Christmas cookies that my kids are eating. Plus, I get lots of compliments on those Christmas cookies. And I make a lot of them. One year for my kids' school, they had a cookie walk and parents were supposed to bring cookies in. And I think I've talked about this before. I have sucker/volunteer written on my forehead. I'm the parent, and this is a character flaw. This is not a bragging point. I am the parent that if no other parents do it, I will do it. I was almost my child's high school girls soccer coach because they were going to cancel the program. And my kid's a boy. He's not even on the soccer team. But I hated to see them cancel a program, especially for girls. So I was like, if you don't find anyone else to be the soccer coach, come back and I will do it. Because I'd already, I can sub at their school, so I'm already approved by the school district. So I could step in and be a coach rather seamlessly. I really didn't want to. And there's a sneaking suspicion I'm going to be my kid's JV Scholastic Bowl coach next year. But I'm that parent. So going back to the cookies, we have a cookie walk. There were roughly 400 students in the school. Day of cookie walk. Well, not day of, week of cookie walk. Hardly anyone has signed up. And for the cookie walk, we don't want store-bought cookies. We want homemade cookies because people come in and they pay per pound for these cookies, which is kind of like, oh, you trust us that much to eat strangers' cookies? Okay, cool. The week of, only 5 parents. So 400 students, again, only 5 parents that signed up to do this cookie walk. So me and 2 other PTO parents decided to fill it in as much as possible because this is a fundraiser. Granted, I should have just given the school the money at this point. And our PTO, again, 400 students in the school. Our PTO had 5 people in it. And so I made 36 dozen sugar cookies, roughly 10 dozen peanut butter cookies. And when I say sugar cookies, these are stamped and iced. So they are like Christmas trees and snowmen and stockings, and it took forever. Dinosaurs. I think I was throwing like cats, just random shapes in here. I made a bunch of peanut butter cookies, and I made a bunch of gingerbread cookies. Except I don't like gingerbread, so I made ginger snaps, which are slightly spicier and crisper. So I made those, and I made chocolate chip cookies because chocolate chip cookies are fairly easy to make. I brought around 60 dozen cookies to this thing. Other people were bringing a lot too. I just remember covering every single surface in my kitchen with cookies. My kitchen table seats 12. So every single surface, the top of the stove, the counters, I put cutting boards over the sink so I could cover that in cookies. Every surface was covered in cookies. I brought in folding tables, everything. And it was absolutely insane. And I will say I never did it again. Mainly COVID happened and they stopped doing the cookie walk because nobody wants to eat strangers' foods anymore. And the school my kids go to now does not do that. But it was absolutely insane. I would never, ever do that again. I could not believe I did all that with an infant. in less than 4 days. All of the cookie recipes came from the Illinois Department of Revenue cookbook. And I remember when I was done just kind of having like the crazed laugh, like, I can't believe I did that. And we made almost $3,000 from a cookie walk. So I guess go team. And this was like, to put into perspective, people would line up outside for these cookie walks. So this was kind of a big deal. And it was $5 per pound of cookies. We weighed the cookies. They could bring their own tins in. We also had tins for them to buy. And we made so much money on this. So it wasn't like a cutesy little thing where we're only going to make, like, it was a big, big deal. Thank you for watching the video. Please like and subscribe and have a productive day.